Salut, c'est Aurélie. Today I'm gonna share my best advice, my best tips to pass all your exams when you're studying translation. Well, at least if you do what I'm gonna say, it should really help you. Maybe not pass all the exams because it's not magical and you're gonna have to study a lot and exercise, practice, and all of that, of course. But maybe what I'm gonna say, my tips and stuff, are gonna help you. So who knows? Who knows? I think it can only be helpful. And yeah, last year, so I finished my first year of translation, and I passed all my exams, and I had a average mark of 15 out of 20, which is quite good, I have to say, and I'm a bit proud of it because I studied a lot for it. So anyway, here we go. I think I'm gonna end this episode with the French subjects because they are the one for which I've got the most details. I've got the more details. Well, you understood what I was trying to say. I've got the more to say about them, and also, watch time. If I can increase it a little bit, that's nice. And yeah, first of all, you should always try to go to class. I mean, that's really basic, and I'm gonna say some basic stuff that everybody know, but who knows, maybe by me saying that, it's gonna help you doing it. I don't know. I have no idea if it's gonna help you or not, but yeah, just go to class. It's really helpful, at least it was for me. Or go to your Zoom meeting or Teams, because when it was online, of course, you couldn't really go to class. But I think it really helps to be there and to interact with the teacher, answering the questions and all of that. I'm sure it can only help you remember better the material and the subject. So yes, and also, well, I think that's a typical Belgian thing. That's why it's called Belgian accent, because I'm Belgian and not French. Anyway, um, so in Belgium, we have what we call blocus, and it is a period of time, like 2-3 weeks more or less, between the end of the semester and the beginning of the exams. So you usually have, 2 or 3 weeks to study. So at that moment, you shouldn't be doing your vocabulary list or summaries or stuff like that. Everything should be done during the semester, like that. When the locus period arrives, you should just be studying what you've done before. And that's a big mistake I did last year for my first blocus. It was my first one, so then for the second one I didn't do that mistake, but I had been to class or online meetings, and I knew more or less the subjects, but nothing was ready. So I literally spent the first week of my 3 weeks blockus just making vocabulary list. So I wasted 1 week out of 3 that I had, and that was a bit stupid. I should have known that I had to do them during the semester, but nobody told me, so I didn't know. I just didn't know. So yeah, just by doing that, you're gonna have a lot more time during the blocus to just study. So everything should be done by the end of the semester, like that. When you're in the blocus time, you just have to study or to do some just to study, basically. I didn't even know what I was gonna say. Anyway, and also one big thing for the blocus is that everybody's got a different rhythm. I'm more of a night owl. I love the mood that there is during the night. I've always loved it, and if I can sleep during the morning, I'll do it, you know? So, and it made me feel guilty about it because all of my friends, they would wake up at maybe 8 or 9 a.m. and then they would study until 6 p.m. and then it would be free time for them. But for me, it wasn't like that. I would wake up around 11 or noon, and then I would work from maybe 5 p.m. until 3 4 a.m. and yeah, I really felt guilty because I was like, but all of my friends, they are having a normal, like traditional schedule, let's say, but I have a really different one. Like when I wake up, they have already been studying for maybe 4 hours, 3 hours, and I haven't done anything. And so I just want to tell you that if you feel that for you it's easier to study during the afternoon and the night and not just the morning and the afternoon, just do it. And if you feel that after a week maybe, well, in the end it's not really a good idea for me to study during the night because then I can't go to sleep because I'm always thinking, blah blah blah. Just change it, but you just have to be aware that it exists and it is possible to have such a weird schedule, let's say, even though for me it was kind of normal because I've never been an early person. Of course, when I have to wake up to go to university, to the airport or stuff, I'll do it, but I don't like waking up early. So I really loved my way of doing it, and I felt like I was the only one doing like that. So yeah, maybe it's gonna reassure you knowing that it is okay to have such a weird rhythm, let's say, disturbed rhythm, maybe, I don't know. But just, yeah, be ready. Well, not ready, but you have to know that you will certainly have the exams in the morning. So at the end of the blockers, beginning of the exams, you'll have to go back to a usual rhythm because if you don't, you're gonna go to sleep at 3 a.m. and you'll have to wake up at 7 a.m. and it's not gonna be okay. But yeah, it's okay to have such to have a rhythm like that. You're not weird. It's just the way it works for you. And if it doesn't, or if it only works like that during the weekends, or I don't know, just change it. But you're not the only one. And I would have loved to hear that a year ago because I really felt like I was the only one. Anyway, I am repeating myself. I don't like it. Let's go to English grammar. Wow. How did I manage to pass that exam? Well, the first semester it was all about conjugation, so I was quite confident about that topic, so I just did some exercises that we did in class and it was enough. But for the second semester, it was all the phonetics and parsing stuff. Whew, that was hard. It took me a very long time to understand the theory, and once it was done, I just did a lot of exercises. Well, anyway, yeah. And yeah, I would like to say practice makes perfect, but it was definitely not perfect. And I really thought I had failed that exam, but in the end, I passed it. Still don't know how, but I passed it. But I have to say that if right now I would have to redo that exam like tomorrow, I wouldn't be able to do it because I have forgotten everything. And the tricky part is that phonetics, it is a thing that I'll have to remember for my whole life. So it's a useful thing, but I just didn't study it enough, or maybe enough, but it was on the short-term part of my brain, so now I wouldn't be able to do it. but I think that I'll have to work on that on my own. Anyway, phonetics very important, and parsing as well. Then English vocabulary. Well, I mainly used Quizlet to make the vocabulary list. So I did them during the blocus or during the semester, and I would just study them. I mean, I don't have any trick for that or any tips. Just study, study, study. And well, you can maybe study with another student that also needs to know that kind of vocabulary, like that. You could help each other out. I don't know. I've never done that, so because it was COVID, but maybe could be nice. Then English oral, English talking, English speaking. Well, I have to say I have always felt quite confident talking in English and also in Spanish. What I'm gonna say it's gonna be for English and Spanish speaking, talking. Don't really know the difference between the two words. Sorry. Maybe because I did a gap year in Spain and then in England. That's why for some words I've got a British accent, and for the others I've just got a big French Belgian accent because I'm not living in England anymore. But back there, I think my accent was pretty decent. So yeah, I've always felt confident. I don't really have a lack of vocabulary. I mean, of course, sometimes I don't remember stuff, but I can always improvise and stuff. So I didn't really practice a lot for it. What I did is I tried to call someone that would speak English with me. Same for Spanish, like that I would practice my Spanish or English 1 or 2 days before the exam. But except that, I didn't really do anything, so I wouldn't know what to tell you. Except that maybe you can try to go to, well, I don't know how it's called in English, but maybe a conversation exchange? Conversation table? I don't know. Well, it's basically just a place where you go and meet people that also want to practice a certain language. I go to a place in Brussels. I'm not gonna say the name, but if you do some research, you're gonna find a lot of places like that. And there's an app that you can download on your phone that is called Meetup. So yeah, meet like to meet, not meet the food. Anyway, meet up. And I'm sure you're gonna find lots of events on that app online and also in a bar or in a hotel or something like that. So yeah, it really helped me. I wouldn't say improve my Spanish, but yeah, last year I had a little bit lost the habit of talking in Spanish, so going there once a week really helped me to get back on track. So I would recommend this kind of place. Sometimes there's a little fee that you have to pay, 1 or 2 euros, dollars, whatever. But then it's, I mean, yeah, that's it. Sometimes you have to pay for it a little bit, but it's not too expensive. Especially if you stay there for 3 or 4 hours in the end. I think it was worth it. So yeah, Spanish and English oral talking. Then we have Spanish grammar. Just did a lot of exercises. And I would, just do again the exercises that we did in class. And the Spanish vocabulary, same, Quizlet vocabulary list. It's better if you can do them during the semester and not during the blocus. And I also studied a lot the rules about when you have to translate a proper noun or not, because sometimes you have to do that in Spanish, sometimes you don't, so studied that. And yeah, that's it basically for Spanish and English. Also for the talking part, well, it's more of the comprehension part, but I would also, the day before the exam, watch a lot of YouTube videos in English or in Spanish. Yeah, I think it helped a little bit. And maybe I can make a bonus episode with all the YouTube channels and Spanish channels that I'm following. I don't know if that would be interesting. Maybe. I'm gonna think about it. Maybe if one week I don't have a lot of time to make an episode, I'll maybe just do that. Anyway, then we had philosophy. Whoa, big one. Well, for me it was a bit different because it was during COVID and I just had an essay to write. But normally for philosophy, when it's not with COVID, you have an essay to write about a topic that you can choose. And you also have an oral presentation. Well, not really presentation, but just, yeah, you talking with the teacher about the stuff that you saw during the lessons. So, yes, I wouldn't really know what to advise because I didn't have that part because it was COVID. Just had to write an essay, but I guess I would just study what we saw in class. I mean, that's that's really basic. Then history of art. Well, the teacher made it pretty clear that we didn't have to know every pieces of art that we saw during the lessons and by who it had been painted and stuff and when, but you had to be able to recognize the features of the different movements and be able during the exam to be like, all right, so this painting, it's from X movement or Y B movement because it's got those features and blah blah blah. So you had to know that part by heart, but you didn't have to know all the details, you know. So that's it. Then we had low lessons. Low. Oh, that's a difficult that's a difficult one to say. Low. Well, anyway, it was a bit different because, well, as it was COVID, this one was an online exam, and the teachers said that it would be, can you say an open exam? I don't know, but it was an exam, and we were allowed to have all of our books and the notes that we took during the semester with us, so it was officially allowed. So I didn't really study for it, I have to say, and I've got one of the worst marks that I've had, so it maybe should have got better ones, but anyway. What did I want to say? Yes, so what I did, well, I had been to every lessons and I had taken a lot of notes. Almost everything that the teacher would say, I would write it. But then, yeah, I didn't have to study it. I just had to know where it was in my notes. Like if the teacher was talking about the organization of the Belgian state, that would be at the beginning of my notes and stuff. So what I did, I didn't study for that exam, but the day of the exam, the exam was at 2 p.m. So I maybe woke up at 9 a.m. and from 9 till 1, I just read everything that we saw. I read all of my notes to my dad because he was there and it interested him, but yeah, I didn't really study for that one. But if I had to, I would have studied for it, but it wasn't compulsory, let's say. You just had to, yeah, be confident with the materials. Then English culture. For for that one, yeah, just did Quizlet lists about who discovered that, when, discovered, I mean, those countries already existed. Who wrote that kind of book, blah blah blah. So yeah, Quizlet lists. Same for the English culture, history of the English language, better like that, part, Quizlet lists. And also Black Lives Matter movement Quizlet list. But we also had to read a book, To Kill a Mockingbird, and so I read that book. And I think I finished the book maybe 1 or 2 days before the exam, so it was still quite fresh in my mind. So when I saw the questions about it at the exam, I was like, okay, I know what they're talking about, no worries. So yeah. Then Spanish culture. I remember that I studied without a lot of details, and I should have studied it with more details. I remember that. But yeah, I just had to study everything, and guess what I did? Quizlet list. I promise I'm not even sponsored. I would like to, because I really like that website. Really, really useful. But no, I don't have any promotion code or anything like that. Maybe one day. Who knows? Maybe if a million people listen to what I'm saying. Well, a million, that's a bit too much. But anyway, so Spanish culture, yeah, just Quizlet lists and be able also to know the geography of Spain and all of the islands. And now we're gonna enter in the big part, which is gonna be French subjects. So, first one, linguistics. Well, first of all, linguistics and phonetics were subjects given by, during the year, during the semester, given by different teachers, but it was the same exam at the same moment. So you had only 2 hours to do both linguistics and phonetics. And it was the same for grammar and lexicology. So linguistics, I did a very bad thing. I just studied it the day before the exam, and I really wouldn't recommend that, because I was very, very, very stressed about it, and I really thought I had failed that exam. In the end, I didn't, but I guess that because I had been to every class or Teams meetings, I was aware. Oh my god, I was aware. Oh, I already kind of knew all the topics. They just had to be fresh in my brain, let's say. So for me, it was enough to just study that the day before, but it still was very stressful. And if I could have gone back in time, if I could go back in time, I would do that, and I would spend a bit more time on that exam, because very, very stressful. And for phonetics, well, as I said in the first episode, for me, in the end, the phonetics, the transcription form, sorry, it's a bit late, the transcription from French to French phonetics kind of became to be a game for me in my mind, so that part was pretty okay. But then there was also an accent part, and we had to be able to recognize different accents and say, okay, this one is an accent from Brussels because it's got that features. So yeah, you had to memorize the different features of each accent, and when at the exam you would hear one audio, you would have to say, oh, that's that accent because blah blah blah. And also there was a lot of theory that we were supposed to know for phonetics, but I didn't study it because I was hoping that the marks I would get from the transcription and the accents would be enough for me to not study the theory part. Also, I don't recommend that because very, very, very stressful. And yeah, but the problem is that during both blockers, the first one and the second one, I spent too much time studying for grammar and lexicology. Almost all of my blockers were focused on that, especially because they were the first exam of the exam session. And so then I would just have 1, 2, maybe 3 days to study for the other exams between every exams, because what I would have maybe an exam on Monday and then on Friday, and then I would have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to study for the next exam. So that's what I did. Only, yeah, studying for 1, 2, 3 days, depending on the weeks, but also very, very stressful. So I don't recommend doing that, even though it can work. It worked for me, but if I could go back in time, I would do it in another way. I would focus a little bit less on grammar and lexicology and a bit more on the other subjects because they were as important as those ones. And now, grammar and lexicology. Well, grammar, just doing the exercises all over again. And what else? Yeah, what I did is same for lexicology. I would always have 2 Word documents, one with only the questions and one with the questions and the answers that we wrote during the lessons. And I would do the exercises on the questions only part, and then I would correct them with the answers. Of course, that's pretty normal. I don't even know what I'm saying that, but anyway, that's what I did. And also, hey, for grammar, we had a dictation to do. So, well, there were 2 kinds of dictations, one that you could prepare at home and another one that would be a total surprise. So what I did during the semester and the blocus, I would do the dictations a lot, at least 3 times each dictations, and we had to study maybe 20, 25 dictations, and we wouldn't know which one it would be, of course. And what I did, I would always, sorry. The first time I would do a dictation, I would always write it by hand, and then I would do them on the computer, but the first time always by hand, like that you can really see the mistakes and all of that. It takes a lot of time because the person saying the dictation is doing it kind of fast, so you have to make a pause every 5 seconds, which is very frustrating, especially when the dictation is 4 or 5 minutes long. It's a lot of pauses. But yeah, first one, always by hand, and then on the computer. But I would do, I don't know what you have to do exactly on Word, but on the Word document, but the mistakes just wouldn't appear. So like that, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, that's a mistake, I have to, no. Like at the exam, you're gonna do it by hand, so you won't have anything highlighted or stuff, so no. And then, but maybe that's a bit too extreme, and I don't even know how much it helped, but with the mistakes I would do quite often during the dictation, And for each dictation, I would make a Quizlet list with the right sentence, with the right words on the left side, and then on the right side, I would write, in the good way also, the word where I was always making a mistake. So like that, I guess that my brain would associate the two parts, oh yeah, this sentence, that word should be written that way in that sentence. And I don't know how much it helped, but I've got very good marks for the prepared dictation, but for the surprise one, it was poof, pretty bad. So at the end, it was kind of balanced. But I know that some people just studied the dictations the day before the exam, and I don't think that's enough. I mean, maybe I should ask them how it went, but I think it's definitely better to practice them 3-4 times. And then, tac. Well, last one. 31 minutes. The French version is shorter than that. How is that possible? Anyway, lexicology, doing the exercises again. And also, yes, you had to study a lot of definitions for many words. So what I did an Quizlet list. What a surprise. And I would write the word on the left, then write definition, then left word dash synonyms, then synonyms, word dash antonyms, word dash sentence, and then I would put the word in a sentence. And like that, I would study that by heart, I would study that by heart. And then I asked my sister, and she was okay to do that. But you can ask anyone, maybe your father, mother, brother, or even another student. Like that, it may be a win-win situation. And yeah, I would study the Quizlet list of the French vocabulary. And then she would tell me a word, and I would have to say its definition, then the word and its synonyms, and I would have to say the synonyms and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how I did it. And I think that if you can do it with another student, it's really a win-win situation, because by you telling them what the definition is, it's gonna help you, but it's also gonna help them to remember it, I guess. So yeah, you should try that. I couldn't because it was COVID, but I think I would have done that if it wasn't during COVID. And I think that's it. Whew. Oh my god. 33 minutes. That's not bad. Really hope it helped. And if it didn't, well, at least I've practiced my English for half an hour. So, yes, I think that's it. Bye.